BBC in Salford. Kim Harrison's a lawyer for Slater and Gordon. She acts on behalf of victims of sexual and physical abuse. This case should never have been brought, should it? It collapsed.
Just to clarify, Slater and Gordon act in civil compensation claims for abuse victims, and this is an unusual case, and whilst we weren't involved in this case and I can't comment on the specific circumstances, I do know from reading the coverage that a number of the alleged victims of it themselves expressed surprise about why the case was brought. But I think that we need to look at this in perspective, in that these celebrity cases are a very small proportion of the number of sexual assault and rape and abuse cases which happen each year. And we don't.
I understand that, but this case is about a man whose life has now been ruined, even though he's won. And the point I put to you is this case should never have been brought.
Well, as I say, it wasn't anything to do with us or Slater and
I'm
Gordon.
not accusing you. I'm asking for your opinion. I mean, let me just put this. Only 2 of the alleged victims had complained to the police. The police then went on a trawl for the other ones. Only 2 actually volunteered. One of the alleged victims said he never wanted a prosecution. Another claimed he was traumatised, but stayed friends with Nigel Evans and describes him as an all-round good egg. Another admitted that he had embellished his account for dramatic effect. I say again to you, this case should never have been brought.
I think the police and the CPS have a really, really difficult job in these sorts of cases, and there have been convictions in celebrity cases. Look at the Stuart Hall convictions, for example. And the role of the CPS and the police isn't to decide whether somebody's guilty. That's the role of the jury, and that's what the jury have done in this case. And if anything, it shows that the criminal justice system in this country is functioning well if the jury have listened to the evidence and reached their verdict. But if you had a situation where every single case that was brought that resulted in the conviction, and that would surely say something about our criminal justice system as well.
Well, I can assure you this morning it's not working well for Nigel Evans, even though he's won. And my point to you, which I'll try again for a 3rd time, is why would the Crown Prosecution Service proceed with a case in which the police had to trawl for victims in the first place, and even when it found them, some of them said they didn't even think it should go to court? Why would you do that unless you were really out for a celebrity scalp?
Well, I think you'd have to ask the CPS that, but I think that the real problem is not false claims, but low reporting rates for rape and sexual abuse cases. That's the real problem in this country, and victims who are scared to come forward because they're scared that they're not going to be believed.
Do you have no sympathy for Nigel Evans this morning?
Sorry?
Do you have no sympathy for Nigel Evans this morning?
Of course, I've got great sympathy for Nigel Evans.
But it's the system you're defending has done this to him.
We need to look at this in the context of the overall scale of this problem, where the vast majority of people who are abused are not abused by celebrities, are not abused by people in the public eye. They're abused in their own homes, they're abused by people they know, and these are the people that are lost and forgotten, and the people that we need to be concentrating on.
So why don't the authorities concentrate on them instead of going for celebrity scalps where the case is weak?
There are clearly issues in this case which prosecutors need to learn from, and I'm sure as we speak that people are looking at what happened and learning those lessons. But, you know, my job here isn't to sit up here defending whether or not Nigel Evans should be prosecuted, but we stand up for victims of abuse here. No, I haven't. I've said that there's a bigger problem in this society with low reporting rates of abuse victims, because people are scared that they're not going to be believed. And what we have to be very careful of is that because we've had a couple of cases where people have been acquitted, that we don't roll back all of the very good work that has been done over the past couple of years, with people feeling more confident at coming forward to report abuse, and the police and the CPS taking it seriously, because the real issue is protecting the victims here, the vast majority of victims in this country whose cases never come to court.
I understand that. Nobody could argue with that, but it actually wasn't what I was asking you about. But anyway, Kim Harrison, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
This is the...